Hey, what's up? Whoa. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Hope you guys are having a good Friday evening. We are about to get into it right now, and we're going to run some Skeleton Crew painting stuff. So, anywho, so I kind of got bored this week. Didn't have too much to paint. You guys may have seen some of the rookie salvo, some of the other stuff I was working on this week. But it's been a fairly light week in terms of painting. So right now we're gonna paint this guy here. This is the Sun Dragon, the Earth Dragon from Rising Sun, and you can see I blocked out, done most of the blocking with the airbrush here. And we're just gonna like pick off detail. I think that's really it. That's the plan. I'm deciding what color to make these bumps and what color to make the spines and all that good stuff. Now I know the studio art has the bumps and the spines kind of black, which is a fairly cool look, but I think, yeah, I don't know. I may actually do that because it is a really nice look to go like black. But in a rare move here, I'm gonna say we go like actually black. So we're gonna paint it black. We're gonna paint these things black, gray, and then shade down to black. All right. So that's the general plan. I think we're going to do some red eyes and that kind of stuff on this too. So that's probably where I should start. I should probably do red eyes first, and then we can move on to some of the other stuff. All right. So we're going to keep this fairly chill tonight. And then, if you guys have any questions or anything like that in the comments, go ahead and leave a comment. Otherwise, man, it's been a long week, and I really just kind of want to sit down here and paint. And I figured, well, if I'm going to hang out here for a little bit, maybe you guys may want to come and hang with me, right? So, it's been a long week, like I said, a long, trying week here. So let's get some red going on these things. One of my favorite things about this creature is the fact that it's got like snakes and stuff. It's like fighting other things. And I kind of screwed up a little bit by not. I should have put some texture down on the base, but I don't know. I just decided to prime it and paint it one night. My son actually, he's the one that really kind of convinced me to start painting it, because I showed it to him. He really liked it. He wanted me to paint it. So here we are. Like I said, I took the airbrush, kind of humoring him at first. I went ahead and primed it, and then just started blocking out the color with the airbrush, and he was pretty on board with that. He thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, hold on. Why is that not doing what I need it to do? Looks like I'm going to need some more Carmine red. There it is. It's a really good color, but I'm very low on it. So it's making the painting here a little challenging. So let's do that. Let's paint a few of these snick tongues. Gotta paint the snick tongues. Then I have that, like, I forget what it's called. I always forget what that's called. Komainu, I think. Yeah, the Komainu. He's stepping on the head of a Komainu down below. So we'll get into that. It's a very composite model, though. There's a lot going on. Right, so I love that it has 4 snicks. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 snicks all over this thing's body. I wonder, should the snicks all have red eyes too? Maybe. Maybe. It would make them stand out a little bit more if I did red eyes on the snick. Let's do it. Let's give all the snicks red eyes so that they stand out as well. Whoops. Let's always trust the snick. Snicks that have red eyes. Super fun model. It is annoying. It is frustrating to me that all the seams are starting to come apart as I paint the model. You know, as you kind of put paint down on it, and then the plastic stretches a little bit, and then you start to see all of the little seams and everything. But you know, I probably should have taken quite a bit more time to prep this model, but like I said, I started blocking out the color with my son as we were just kind of having a good time last night, and he just wanted me to start this. So, and then tonight he was like, "Daddy, why didn't you finish your model?" And I was like, "Stop judging me. Stop judging me." All right. I think what we're gonna do actually is maybe the spines will be green on it. Maybe maybe those spines will be green, and then these spots will be black. Or should the spots be green and the spines black? Maybe, yeah. You know what? I think that's actually probably better. We do the spines black, and then we do the spots green. I think that's better. I think that's what we want to do. So we're gonna go with I'm gonna go with a jade green. The kind of, I think that's the best way to do that. Or or I could go like something really outlandish and go with like blue spots. I think that's a little too much. I think green is what we want. So we're gonna do some jade green. Yeah, blue is weird and it just kind of comes from nowhere. And I don't know. Might be kind of cool, but I think green is what I want to do here. So we'll just, I think we'll like it. We'll see. It's up to whoever's joining us. Hope you're having a good Friday night. I am just gonna start painting this bad boy up. Let's see how we like that. Yeah, that's a fun scheme there. Hey, what's up, itinerant hobbyist? Just finished painting a live chat. Made decent progress. Oh, nice. Now you're editing the update video. Oh, cool. That's nice. I need. I really, really should kind of work on my, focus down a little bit more on updating content on both my YouTube and my Twitch. That means I probably won't do it though. You know, when people say that, like, "Oh, I really should do that," doesn't mean that they're gonna do it. I need to what I need to do is get the next part of my mediocre Midas series going. I've been meaning to do. I actually tried the other night, tried recording the next section, and I just didn't like it. So I did like 5 or 6 different attempts to record audio for it, and it just wasn't going in the direction I wanted it to go. If that makes sense. You know, that video format is really supposed to be kind of a collection of my ramblings and thoughts on playing that captain. And I was trying to figure out like now that I've done the intro, where do I start? Do I start by just, I was thinking about maybe doing a deep dive directly into the stat lines and all that kind of stuff, and like comparing Midas to Smoke, the other captain, or to even other captains in Guild Ball, or even to his own squaddies. And none of that was really working. None of that was really helping me out. So I may need another angle or another approach for the next part. I'm just trying to figure out what that is. And then I've just been so busy with crap right now, like work and, you know, family stuff, taking care of the kids, and then like prepping for Guild Ball stuff. I'm hosting a tournament on Sunday. So my like video content stuff has been, we'll just say, not as good as it could be. Then again, what is, right? I mean, for those of us who approach YouTube as a hobby, or in our case, it's just kind of an outline for the hobby. Guild Ball's the main game right now. For me, it is. Guild Ball is, the it's actually the only game I'm playing right now. Um, it's the only game I really have time for, and I'm supporting, our local community with it. And yeah, that's it. It's the only, you know, when I'm not watching my kids or going to work or anything like that, or trying to be a husband, when I'm not doing that stuff, it's just Guild Ball. Uh, well, the turnout Sunday, it looks like it's going to be a little light. A few people have already canceled, or said they couldn't make it. So I'm expecting probably between 6 and 8 players. So it's not going to be much. It's not going to be much. I'm hoping it's uneven because I kind of want to play. You know, I'll play the the ringer spot if it's uneven. Seems like it would be fun because it's a combo. Yeah. Um, Typical game runs about 90 minutes or less. Most games you can finish in about an hour, but there are some kind of like knockdown, drag out fights that will, or games that will take 90 minutes. Um, and yeah, it's a really interesting. Guild Ball is a really interesting thing for me. I've been miniature gaming for almost 30 years now. Wow, that's crazy. It's crazy to say that out loud. I've been miniature gaming for almost 30 years, and I can say with all honesty that no single game has given me as much enjoyment from beginning to the end of the process as Guild Ball has. Okay, so I'm talking about from the very beginning in terms of spending money on the game, building and painting your miniatures, to playing, and then enjoying the game to a point where you say to yourself, like, wow, this is like, it's almost like if you were ever passionate about a sport, and that's really the only comparison, right? It's like the first time if you're a massive hoops fan, and you step out when you're a kid and you step out on a basketball court and you sink your first hoop, right? And you dribble the ball and you realize, I want to be good at this. Like I want to be I want to be good at this. Let me try to explain this because I played 40K for um I want to say 15 years, right? 15 years. So half of my half of my miniature gaming life was spent playing 40K. Okay. And back when I was playing it, most of that time it was the only gig in town. 40K was the only miniature game anyone ever knew about or anything like that, right? And the 40K process was like, you know, you build an army, you tweak a list, you paint ad nauseum, you kind of paint a bunch of troops, you paint a bunch of stuff, all one color. You tweak your list, then you sit down, then you get out there and you play some games and you play in some tournaments and that kind of stuff. And frankly, I could find things I hated about every single step in that process. I could find something that drove me nuts about every single thing from codex creep to batch painting to obnoxious competitive play to imbalance in the rules, right? There's something I could find about every aspect of 40K that was like, yeah, this is my game, this is my hobby, this is my passion, but this aspect of this part of the game drove me insane. Guild Ball was conversely, Guild Ball, while it's not, absolutely not a perfect gaming experience, it's about the closest to perfect as I've ever played, frankly. It doesn't mean it has been my favorite game since I started playing it. And it has a couple of drawbacks, but the drawbacks are not they're nowhere near the scale of the drawbacks that I used to endure to play 40K, and I played that for 15 years. So um so what's interesting about Guild Ball is that for the first time in my miniature gaming career, I felt like I had I had a deeply enjoyable experience from top to bottom, right? Deeply enjoyable experience. And not only was I excited, am I excited to paint the new stuff and always paint the new stuff and stay on top of it and really enjoy it. Not only am I excited about that, I'm actually excited about playing the game. And when I was playing 40K, what I realized looking back, what I really liked about 40K was the aesthetic, right? Setting up this giant table, placing your army down on the battlefield for war, right? And putting down this, putting down this really amazing, cohesive looking force. And then frankly, everything that happened after that, I could do without, right? Everything, in 40K, from anything from comparing stats, doing the dice math, tweaking the lists, rolling on what I consider to be just a wildly, like what's the word? The game arguing rules and it's not. I haven't encountered a game like Guild Ball that the rules have been so tight and precise and easy to learn, difficult to master. I haven't encountered anything like that really made me push to play the game and then even embrace competitive play. That's the kicker, right? Because I played 40K competitively for a stint, from like 3rd edition into 4th edition, and it was overwhelmingly not good experience. Playing competitive games of 40K is not good. It has not been good experience because yes, you can get some exciting games, but they're not competitive games. Some of the worst experiences you may have had, and I'm sorry if this sounds like I'm bashing 40K, but it's the best yardstick we've got. So it's the one that everybody understands. You get into rules arguments. You get people, especially when some of the rules were like true line of sight and all that kind of stuff. Then you had people that were willing to go to just remodel their figures, to just proxy pennies, to just do, and it's not a good experience. It was not, for me, it was not a good experience. And I won most of those games, but I hated it. I hated having to argue rules. I hated having to deal with people that were, behavior wise, were on the lower rungs of what you would consider acceptable gaming behavior, right? Because it's like, oh, anything for a win, win at all costs, right? Now in Guild Ball, you play competitively, but you're there as sport. The rules are tight, so you don't have, in Guild Ball, you not only rarely have like deep arguments, you're actually incentivized to help you and your opponent play cleanly. And that's weird, right? You help measure out stuff with your opponent. You help talk through specific things with your opponent, because the cleaner you play and the cleaner they play, the better the experience is. And so playing competitively for Guild Ball is a very different thing. It's a very different gaming experience, because now you're with people, especially when you have a community, or you're in my case, you're growing a community. What you have then is you have your really good players not trying to just dick stomp everybody. Like 40K, if you're a good 40K player, what does that even really mean? If I'm being honest with you, what does it even mean if you're a really good 40K player? What, you bought all the coolest shit that they said was really powerful? You did dice math, you min-maxed your list, and then you argued really well. and then you rolled better than average. Okay, so I know I'm being really harsh, so I apologize, but once you cut all that out, once you dissect that into the pieces and really look at it, you're like, oh, okay. Like, what did you really do well? What did you did you really outmaneuver your opponent? Did you really? There's going to be some areas that, well, yeah, you outthought your opponent, but a lot of times you just outlisted your opponent. A lot of times you just outdiced your opponent. In Guild Ball, no, man, Guild Ball is a game fought and won in millimeters, and it's you have your 6 players, he has his 6 players. You put them down, and the decisions that truly matter are the ones that you make on the board. And I've always been a huge proponent of that, right? List building, bleh. Metagaming, bleh. No one gives it. That's not. You play a miniature game because I play a miniature game because of the aesthetic, but also because there is a tactical sense to it. There is a push and pull that happens on the board. There are moments where it's like playing a PvP video game, right? You play against another player because that AI is predictable, and another player is coming from a completely different angle than you, and they're thinking differently than you, and it's going to manifest in how you how you actually win or lose that game. No, okay. So list building, you don't build lists in Guild Ball. You do build a roster, and I'll explain that. And if I'm painting slow, sorry, I don't care. I'd rather just chat anyway. So chat and paint slow. Okay, so in Guild Ball, the team that you bring on the field consists of 6 miniatures. Okay, and for the most part, the format's the same. You always have one captain, one mascot, and then you have your 4 other players. We call them squaddies, right? That's it. That's what you got. And that's how the game is balanced. There's no point system. You captain, mascot, squaddies. Okay. And so during a tournament, what you do is your guilds right now consist of like 13 or 14 models each. And when you go to a tournament, you are supposed to submit a roster of 12 players, and those 12 players, that's the pool with which you draft your team immediately before the game starts. So you determine who's in your 12, or right now it's easiest to just determine who do you drop. That's the easiest way to determine, okay, which players do not fit your playstyle, do not fit your plan of attack, and then you drop a player. So you have your 12 players. The other guy has his 12 players. The guilds are announced, or they're known when you sit down to play the game, right? And so you go, okay, I'm going into a butcher's guild, right? I'm playing my guild. I'll just say alchemist because I love that guild. I'm playing alchemist guild, and my opponent's playing butchers. And so now you start making decisions about which 6 players actually make it on the board. The decision on your captain and your mascot are sort of like, well, the captains determine major aspects of the playstyle of the squaddies that you will field. So let's say, like I said, in this case, butchers, and you're like, okay, butchers, what do I know about butchers? Am I kicking against them? Am I receiving against them? Do I want to try to avoid getting beat up and kicking a bunch of goals, or do I want to kill them the way alchemists kill them, which is load them up with poison and fire and let them melt slowly but surely? And you build your team around that, right? So you start off with your captain. You're going to say, okay, this is a little more arbitrary, but anyways, I want to score goals, so I'm going to pick Midas as my captain. And if I'm scoring goals, I want one of the 2 mascots. So you pick your captain, then your mascot. Then then the draft goes back and forth, right? They pick a squatty, you pick a squatty. They pick a squatty, you pick a squatty. And you do that until each player has 6 pieces on the board. And it's a really neat, even that's kind of a neat little chess match because you're like, oh, wow, he took this player. They're good at XYZ. I'm gonna want some kind of I'm gonna want something that can stand up to that or something that can. So yeah, it's it's not the same as list building, but you are drafting into your team. You're drafting into um, uh, what you think will work against that player. And then with that, you have to keep up with the seasons to stay competitive. You do have to keep up with the seasons. Period. Because everyone's playing the current season. Now, you might be going, "Oh man, that's expensive." Well, no, it's actually free. Guild Ball, the rules wise, is 100% free to play. And they update the rules every season. And guess what? Everybody gets the same copy of the rules, and you get your character cards. They're on an app, so you can just so you always have as long as the app is updated, you always have access um, to your rules. You can buy cards from a print on demand. Um, the minis themselves don't change. The characters in the game when they change, when like if they switch guilds or they take on a veteran form, what they do is you get access to a new miniature, right? But you can always go back and play the original miniature, even if they've gone to another team or anything like that, or dead. That's the other thing. The fluff is very very good for the game, surprisingly good for a sports game. It's actually some of the best miniature fluff I've ever read. And they kill characters and they kill them permanently. And it's not like, oh, this guy was so powerful and we're gonna bring him back from the dead. They don't really do that. The character's dead, they're dead. What is something that changes season to season? Okay, so um, one of the things that changes season to season would be oh man, it's kind of a bad example because they didn't change going into season 4, but plot cards, I'll say, right? Plot cards are these cards that you kind of play during the game uh, to bid for first turn, essentially first activation each turn, and then um, those might change season to season. Uh, for example, we season 4 just started late last year, and in season 4 they made uh, a number of changes to the characters themselves. Depending on guilds, it was more of a massive fine tuning, if you will, right? Some characters remained exactly the same, and the characters that remained exactly the same are the ones that Steamforged considered to be, working as intended. Um, so they're working as intended. Then you had some other characters that just needed minor tweaks that they felt maybe that particular piece was overpowered or underpowered. They made tweaks to that, and then in some cases though they have made like pretty significant overhauls to a guild. Like the guild I'm playing, Alchemist, they haven't they weren't exactly happy with the way conditions were playing out and the way that Guild's playstyle was last season. So they made some um, fairly significant changes to the Guild, and I was fairly happy about it because I'm like, oh, I get a new team in season 4. I'm excited to try out the revamped version of these pieces. Now, also, what they do is like their season 4 has been out about 6 months now, and what they're going to do now on March 1st is they're going to do an errata based on actual player data that they've collected, feedback from the community, and then their own kind of playtest and development group. So they're very active. They're very active and involved in their gaming community, and they're paying very close attention to how each of the guilds are performing. Like right now, and the thing that's so interesting about that is that for the most part, if you are active within the community, most everybody sort of has an idea what guilds need to go, what guilds need to be tweaked up and what guilds need to be tweaked down. So for the most part, when erratas happen, nobody's terribly surprised. Most of the time, if your disappointment, if any, with errata is would be like if something you thought was not up to par and you're hoping it would get changed or fixed in errata and it doesn't. Then usually what they do, if it doesn't get fixed in errata, then they'll make an adjustment going into the next season. So there's like a short list of models and stuff that people go, okay, these guys maybe be a little overboard. They might be a little overtuned, and there's like we'll say 3 or 4 models out of the couple hundred or whatever that are in the range that you'll go, okay, those need adjustment, and then you'll have on top of that, then you'll have another half dozen models that are like, okay, these models are not making the cut. They're not making a lot of rosters. They probably could use a tweak or a fine tuning. So they'll tweak or fine tune that. And like I said, the community is so active and so aware of this stuff is that very very seldom are we actually surprised, right? The general consensus right now is that there's a Mortician's Captain Scalpel who seems a bit over the top, and then there's the Hunters Guild that seems a bit over the top. On the bottom side of that, there's a Falconers Guild that is doing very poorly in the tournament scene. So most of us are expecting to see some tweaks to bring the Falconers up and the Hunters down, for example. And there's not like this mysterious like person that comes down from the mountaintop and surprises you with like, surprise, we decided to make fishermen an all fighting team. Like that doesn't happen. The changes that you see are there's a fair predictability to it. People sort of know, like, okay, Hunters are over the top. The 2 characters that most people believe are over the top, those are probably the ones facing the most scrutiny and therefore most likely to see changes. But let me actually, in order to show you this, the easiest way to do this would be to show you like the app that you can use for Guild Ball, right? So, okay, so there's an official app for Guild Ball, and you can, so it keeps all the current rules for all the players in it. There's also an online rule book that you can access, and so when the errata happens, you can order new cards, absolutely, but these will get updated right away. In fact, this is the next guild coming out, the Miners Guild. I don't know if you guys have GB Manager. You may not have noticed that they snuck that guy in there, but you can actually see the 2 leaked characters that are the crossover characters. So the models haven't come out yet, but we have the rules, right? And so we already have access to that. In addition, Guild Ball has there's a community Guild Ball app called Longshanks that allows you to do all kinds of stuff. Like you can run your events there, you can build it has tools to help you calculate odds or build terrain, that kind of stuff. And then you can even look at, and this is something interesting. The statistics are all um, captured from tournament and official play statistics. So you can actually see which guilds are doing best, which guilds are doing worst, and you can filter that data in any number of ways. So you could filter, because there's some crossover from season 3, that kind of stuff. Not only that, you can see which captains are doing well in terms of their winning percent, and you can even see like wait, it's not really. Am I just not doing this right? You can even see how the captains stack up against other captains. So there is an awful lot of very precise data being collected for Guild Ball, and not just collected, but monitored. And that's the important part, right? The community is engaged and paying attention to changes in in guild performance and ranking and that kind of stuff. And so it's really interesting. Like I said, the tournament scenes too, with the most, usually the best players at the tournament are often the most helpful. They're not just, oh, I'm gonna run this. Now there are people that run that. That doesn't mean that everybody's like it's all peachy and shit, but some of what we would consider like the least positive Guild Ball play experiences are like would be considered positive 40K experiences. you know, yeah, you can download rules paper, minis template. Yeah, yeah, Steamforge does a great job of making their game accessible. They've done it since Kickstarter days, like when they were super tiny, and they're like, we don't care, we want you to enjoy our game, we want you to play our game, play it for free, and then if you like it, come back, buy some miniatures, come back and invest in it and play. So it's just been my passion. It's the only miniature game I'm playing at the moment. That doesn't mean I won't play other miniatures games. I do actually want to try out the Malifaux 3rd edition. Arena Rex is still a thing. I still like Aristea. We'll play Batman once in a while. So those things are still on the table. But as far as like what is keeping me like obsessed about stuff, it's gonna be Guild Ball. It's just a fantastic game. Okay, not too bad. But yeah, running events for Guild Ball, also super fun. You get to do really cool stuff because it is sport. I'm running a tournament at a convention in April, and this convention is kind of known for for drinking. A lot of guys show up, a lot of gamers show up, and we play our games and we drink lots of beer. That's kind of the con, right? So and it's Kingdom Con in San Diego, and so I came up with the name the Kingdom Cup, which was the very first Guild Ball tournament I ran at Kingdom Con. And at the end of the con, the player that didn't win anything, like we got them like a beer cup so that people could pour the guy drinks throughout the night and console him on his low fortune during the tournament. So it's all cool though. But this year, I've decided we're bringing the tournament back, and I decided I wanted to step up the cup a little bit. So I bought a custom. I'm gonna have a custom pewter mug or stein engraved with the Kingdom Cup, and then I've got a bunch of other like just kind of cool promo stuff that I'm gonna do that's specific to events I run and specific to that convention. And the Guild Ball tournament scene is extremely active. So they have so everybody kind of knows like a lot of the larger tournaments, kind of like think of like Blood Bowl. How Blood Bowl had like the 4 major bowls that were forever. Everyone knows the Chaos Cup and you know some of the other major tournaments. Now think about that, but like instead of like 4 majors, think of more like 24 majors around the world. And for Guild Ball, it's Vengeance. It's the country specific championships that culminates in the World Championships and the World Team Cup. So WTC. You have the Bourbon Trail. You have Second Wind. You have Spring Fling. There's so many like large tournaments. The largest Guild Ball tournament is Vengeance, which I think is last year. I think they capped it at 128 players. Who knows what it'll be this year? Now, where I'm at on the west coast of the United States, California, we have a very small, very fledgling Guild Ball community. We're still catching up with the rest of the country and obviously the UK and Europe, which have very thriving Guild Ball scenes. So we're trying to catch up to them. And so yeah, so you're heading off to bed. All right. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for having a little chat. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm gonna, for the rest of you lurkers, you guys are lurking. I'm just gonna sit here and kind of ramble a bit while I'm painting. I'm still trying to figure out. Oh, thank you. I'm still trying to figure out what other cool stuff I want to do for Kingdom Con. What I need to invest in. What type of promotional items I want. Do I need to run multiple events at Kingdom Con? I'm still working all of that end of it out. And I'm not sure. All right. Okay. I need we'll do a little highlights on the a lot of people, yeah. Well, highlights on the spines here. A little subtle. I'll take subtle. Subtle's okay. Subtle is okay. So we get that. Okay. Now we're gonna kind of blend these in. Hey, what's up, David Love? Welcome to the feed. Hope you're having a good Friday evening. We're just gonna kind of fade these in. You know what I mean? Kind of blend them in. So there's not that harsh line there. What are you working on tonight, David? get the heater on. So paint's drying kind of faster than I expect it to back here. Last night it was so cold in the house. Now, when I say it's so cold, bear in mind, I'm a Californian, and even though I spent a bit of my childhood in Connecticut, and I have experienced real cold before, um, that's many years behind me, and now I'm very intolerant of low temperature. Um, so it was very cold last night, and I was trying to sleep, but it was actually quite cold, and I had to check the heater was on. I could hear that it was on, but I didn't feel it. So I checked on the heater. Um, could feel that there was just a little bit of heat trickling out, but it it wasn't, the air itself wasn't really moving. So what I did was, I took the furnace filter out, did a little vacuum on it, cleaned it up, threw it back in. Sure enough, warm air starts moving through the house. And so today I just went ahead and replaced the filter. It's my fault. You need to replace those filters fairly often. But like, I can't remember a year that we've ever needed the heater this much in California, right? In Southern California, like this morning I had ice on my windshield. I actually had to physically scrape off. I was like, "Oh, what is going on?" You know what I mean? Like I live close to the beach. It's always like a perfect 70 degrees out here, right? So that was wild. Chilling and making, I don't know what that is. Your bolt action, that's cool. Always bolt action, always been a big fan of those minis. Never played the game. Afraid to play the game because I'm afraid I'd like it too much. And then there we go. And then I have another game that I want to invest in, and that's a problem. Oh, large hedges. Okay. I'm gonna have to employ something to blend those in a little bit better because they look terrible right now. Then we'll get to that. Okay. So, I guess the next part of this is to, blah, blah. I need to wash that Komainu. And I'm not doing anything too special with it. In fact, I'm actually kind of bummed that it's on the miniature because it's a little much, you know, a little much to have that much going on the miniature's base. So, but we'll do what we can, right? Get that Komainu, get some detail on the Komainu. Now, full disclosure here, because I don't really play Rising Sun, I own it, only played it a couple times. I painted all the core stuff, and most of the daimyo box. I'm probably going to use this as a Go Ball goal, just because it's on a 50 mil base. So, because it's a fun miniature. Let's just put it down. Go. There's my goal. All right. That's cool. Let's shade in all teeth here. Actually, it's kind of bad. Okay. Yeah, I need to actually need a little bit of white. But yeah, this guy's fun. So I went for it, like I said, and I'm like, well, it'll make for a goal for Guild Ball. And you just put it on the pitch and go, here, try to score on my dragon. I think it'll be fun. Right now, my alchemist goal is an angry looking toilet bowl. And I've been trying to work out, whether or not I want to use another elemental from Reaper Bones, one of these clear guys for that. You're also got in a Frostgrave. Oh yeah, I was playing Frostgrave for a while there. It's a fun game. Hope you're enjoying that because that's a very enjoyable game. All right. Now, wondering I want to get a little bit more shade on this model. I'm wondering if I want to do like a pure green or if I want to do more like an aqua. Actually, before I even do that, the next thing I need to do is let's get some verdigris down, and let's start highlighting all those little bumps on the mini. Yeah, we were way into Frostgrave for a while. We played mostly like 4-player games of we play a lot of multiplayer Frostgrave, and that got really draining. So Frostgrave was super fun. Oops. Huh. Let's kind of blend that in a little bit. It's a little stark. Yeah. So what kind of wizard did you make for Frostgrave? All I remember is there are certain combos that were very gross if they actually happen. If you had Wizard Eye and Blinding Light was just punishing. But if you could cast it through Wizard Eye and just blind some key people on the other team, and you happen to roll really high, you can shut down players for an entire game. Man, I'm so tired. I'm just like, boop, not doing the best job on these. Right, this could look a little bit better. Try to make these better. Female necromancer, cool. I had I think I had an illusionist, and then I had I forget the other one I had. That was fun. I used me and Mark used um, a lot of Anima Tactics minis for it for our cruise. Oh, you are using it. Yeah, it's great. It's an aesthetic that you don't see people using for Frostgrave, but it's really cool. I really liked giving it, giving it that fantasy element, a little more of an anime spin to it. And man, and Anima Tactics minis have long been some of my favorite miniatures of all time to paint. It's a great range there. So I admit I'm not doing the best job on this. Quite tired, but we will press on. We will soldier on. They were super fun to paint. In fact, I still have some Anima Tactics minis tucked away for a rainy day, and like if I really want to, sit down and paint something purely for enjoyment, I kept Anima Tactics just for that. Okay, there we go. Getting there. Let's do some ink. Where's that black? Blech. Also, I'll show you guys. I'll show you something in a little bit. My son got me to painting some Guild Ball tonight, and he did some Guild Ball also. So super cool. Pretty stoked on this. All right. I'm just gonna use this black ink to kind of soften up these. It's like a double-edged sword, right? I'm super happy that my kid, finds Guild Ball interesting, and along with the other games that we play. That's great. He wants to paint his own team, and that's the part that is bittersweet, right? Because he's not really ready to take down $150, 14 player team. So, and he wanted to paint one real bad. So what I did was, I had a blacksmith box and a couple other plastic boxes, and I let him pick one. And so we're painting through, and he picked blacksmith, so we're going to be painting some blacksmiths. But so let me show you what he did. So he painted his first one tonight, and I'm pretty impressed with it. I did the basing stuff. He did iron, and there's a lot of, the camera's not picking it up, but there's a lot of little different colors going on in here. And so then he then I, had him blend it all together with a darker wash, and that's what he did. Yeah, not bad for a 5-year-old kid, right? Then, so I worked off the same palette, and I painted a blacksmith miniature with him. So I sat right next to him, and I painted ferrite right next to iron. I got to seal it. You can see her base is still. But these are the colors he used. So there's all kinds of stuff going on there. There's greens in there. There's reds, browns, and it just made it made for a really cool looking, like weathered, beat up armor all together. And I'm excited. So we divided up the rest of that box. I did ask him if I could paint faces and stuff, so that he could do all the armor and all that good stuff, and then I'll go back and paint the faces in for those miniatures, which would be pretty fun. And then just plan on painting it in really thin lines here. Just really kind of settle it into the crevices there. There we go. So just building a little definition around little plates in the head here. And I don't really understand the rest of this model, if I'm being honest with you. The head has some weird shapes to it. Okay. Pretty nice. The snakes, they're going to get a lot of the green ink here. Kind of liven up the snakes. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting goal. All right. Been taking advantage of the local. Oh, cool. You're doing low-cost 3D printed terrain. Maybe that's what I need to invest in. Buy myself a 3D printer. Then I gotta teach myself how to print. I don't know though. I mean, if I could print my own minis, that's not a bad thing. I'm actually more interested in learning how to 3D sculpt, but there's no way I have the time to go back and learn that skill set. That would be pretty awesome, though. Okay. Pretty nice. There's a lot going on with this miniature, man. It's fun though, man. Super fun. Should probably let's do a little. Let's do some of that work here, right? Just kind of bring that all the way up. You know how much of that I really need to do. Really just kind of accentuate some of the muscle down here. Just kind of blend it out. There we go. Probably better, probably just safer and easier just to do this. That way everything's blended nicely. And there's no, it should look fairly uniform when it's dry. There we go. Okay. It's not really staying on that anymore. Let's do like a super highlight on the yellow. We need like a really light yellow. And then I don't know. Fairly happy with where this went. Okay. So super light yellow. I'm just going to use it to really just kind of cap off these highlights and make it right. Really kind of make the model look as bright as possible while still keeping the shadow. There we go. Wash. No. I think I'm. Yeah, I just washed the underbelly there. Right now it's just. I'm just like livening up the head. Well, that might be a little too much there. just enough to kind of draw your eyes to certain areas, but you don't want to overdo this. It's just really subtle, right? Pretty good actually. Yeah, I don't think I want to do too much more to this. Pretty happy. I think the last thing I need to do is really just kind of paint in. I'm going to paint in the entire bottom black. Yeah. And it's just going to be a goal marker, so why not? Definitely not my best work, but you can always improve it. But I don't even know. Well, if it looks good enough, I'll put it on the board and use it as my goal marker for Sunday's tournament. Otherwise, it's okay. Just a nice little fun piece I've got. That's all. Doesn't have to be, anything earth-shattering here. A few dragons I've painted, you try to add treasure. Yeah, this one doesn't really have much opportunity to add much to it just because it already has so much going on the base. It's like it seems to be on some sort of staircase, crushing a Komainu in the head. Oop. Let's let that dry for a little bit. I'm gonna let it dry, and then I want to hit it with satin varnish. Yeah, let's close up my wet palette. Yeah. Simple enough paint job. Feel like there's quite a bit of fine tuning I could do here on this if I want to. I just don't know if I want to. If I'm being honest with you. Probably just want to go ahead and seal it. Seal it for now. And I might as well seal 2 Guild Ball models as well. Let's get that going. Need to clean the wipe off my needle here. That black is still drying on the base, so let's shoot a little air at it. Get it all nice and dry. Okay, so here's that. Right. I think we are just about ready to seal up these bad boys. So, where is my satin varnish? Ruh-roh. And no reason to move it. What's this? That's gloss varnish. Don't want gloss varnish. Satin varnish is just fine. What did he do with it? Okay. Bad sign. Gotta be here. Gotta be here. I did not put that away or anything like that. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Oh, sorry. A little airbrush thinner. Put that back up there. Okay. Ruh-roh. Just not having a good night tonight finding stuff on my absolutely trashed desk. Right here. Mix that up. Okay. Oops. And let's go ahead and seal these bad boys up. Okay, so starting with my son's piece. Really like what he did with iron. His choices of color were pretty cool. Ferrite. Oops. And then finally, this guy. Looks kind of like a poison dragon to me. That's how I'll justify using it in the Elks Guild. Get a nice, good seal. Now, hey, what's up, Dicey guy? Morning for you is late night evening for me. We're just finishing up doing a little painting here. So I know you always kind of catch me at the end of my feed, probably because you're waking up at the end of my feed. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Let me clear out my airbrush real quick. And yeah, before I call it, let me show off. I want to show you what my 5-year-old kid painted. Really cool. So, Iron for Guild Ball. He had a fun time painting that. We're gonna paint. So I just painted off the same palette he was working on. So I painted Ferrite for him. So we have this is gonna be his first Guild Ball team, the blacksmith. So we're gonna paint our way through it together. I'm gonna paint 3 of the models. He'll paint 3. I'll paint the faces and stuff. And we're gonna kind of stick with the same color palette all the way through. So it should be super fun. And then my kid will have his own Guild Ball team. It'll be super exciting for him. And then I'm painting this thing. This will be I'm just going to use it as my gold. Kids are fed, playing with Lego, so you can watch your awesome stuff. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, he is getting a lot better. He still play, we still paint the other stuff, so like here's some other stuff he was painting as well. So he paints a little, the little whiz kid minis. He's pretty cool. He does pretty cool stuff. So anyways, I'm a proud dad and looking forward to getting my son actually has played a couple of games of Guild Ball with me. So anyway, I do have to call it though, because I got to get up early in the morning. I'm going to take my boys to breakfast and have a little fun tomorrow before I run a Guild Ball tournament on Sunday. So with that, he does an airbrush. I do all the priming and I block like basic color in for him. Then he picks all the colors, and sometimes I let him just paint like opaque color however he wants to do. In this case, I turned most of the colors he wanted into glazes so that they would blend together a little better, and he could get, a decent looking miniature. So anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night, guys, or good morning, wherever you're coming in from. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.